Democracy, free to think, free to speak, free to be all it is that you can be. Holding back a shot, no, I know this is where I stay. Holding back a shot, no, I know this is where I stay.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Irish Furian. I am the Irish Furian. Okay, so hope you're all doing well. It is indeed Emmanuel. That's me. Yeah, yeah. I sing and I songwrite as well, you know, and I produce the song as well. I spent 4 years learning how to produce music in order to produce my own songs. Taught myself from YouTube. It's a fascinating art. Yeah, it's fascinating. Sound, frequency, all of that. Compression, EQ, delay, reverb. Yeah. Cheers. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, cool. So appreciate it. So we'll get on to this. So really, you know, you can see my modus operandi here. Basically, I don't leave it at ones and twos. I like to get the point home. And the way to do that is through repetition and through exploration through repetition. So we're going to do that tonight again. We're going to look at let me just have a look at this here now. Make sure I have the right one up on the screen. Get that. I'll just add, sorry, I didn't add the window capture. Okie dokie dokie. Yeah. Okay. Bring that up again. There we go. It's up. So, right. Yeah. So this is a pretty okay channel. You know, it's respiratory therapy zone. Now, I don't believe everything that's being said on these channels. All right. I think a lot of it is, again, manufacturing by consent. I think that they control narratives through channels like this. Like every great lie has to contain the truth. However, at the same time, you can't always ignore the truth because there's a lie being told. If you get me, if you understand what I'm saying. So let's do this. This is 8 minutes and 34 seconds long. I haven't seen this video yet, so we'll just race through it. It's called 7 Signs You've Had a Lung Infection Without Knowing. So let's give it a go. Whoop. Back to start. Maybe I did watch it. Oh, don't bloody well watch that. Just keep going with. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Many people without even knowing it. So I'm going to be breaking this video up with my interjection, and I'm going to do that because I don't want to get a copyright strike. I might go into the channel. I must show you. I got the last when I was beaten home. No sound at all. Same from me, or can you hear the YouTube video? Let's see. Hang on a second now. Yeah, the channel video. Okay. What would be causing that? Bum, 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 bum. Got it. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I got it. I got it. I got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. I have it. So, yeah, I know what it was. I have to. I've got the desktop audio and my microphone input audio. On the desktop audio, it seems to take in my microphone as well. I've obviously in the audio settings, I've got to separate the two. So I had it turned off so that my song could play and my voice can be heard without being trebled or echoed. So that's where the echo was coming from before. So I've got that back on. I have the headphones in. There shouldn't be an echo with that. And all right, so the Jolly Trolls are here. So so this is it may or may not be Emmanuel. It may or may not be. Could be somebody else completely different, you know. Anyway, this is 7 signs you've had. Now, kids, stop playing with each other. That sounds awful. And listen to your teacher. 7 signs you've had a lung infection without knowing. Now listen.
Millions of people around the world are suffering or have suffered from certain types of lung infections. The crazy part is, many without even knowing it. Sometimes the symptoms are obvious, but other times they can go undetected. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the signs that indicate that you may have already been infected without even realizing it. Be sure to hang around until the end because there's one that may surprise you. So if you're ready, let's get into it.
Okay, so seven signs you've had a lung infection without knowing it. Have any of you guys ever had lung infections? Just curious. I've had them in the past, yeah. Here we go.
Just a quick reminder, this video is for informational purposes only. One sign that you may have been infected is if you have a cough that won't go away. The coughing mechanism is how your body gets rid of particles in the respiratory tract. During most lung infections, inflammation and mucus buildup occurs in the airways of the lungs, which makes it more difficult to breathe. Your body triggers a cough response in order to get rid of the foreign materials in your lungs, allowing you to take in more air and breathe more freely.
I think at one stage, I remember when I was a kid, you have a cloud on your lung. What's that about, Emmanuel? What's a cloud on your lung? Does it have any effect on your breathing? Does it have an effect on your? Do you cough because of it? I remember like when we were kids, you know, we were told about the whooping cough. And I think I got it once as a child. It's where you just keep coughing and it keeps, it's like, you know, sampling. You know, speaking of music and all of that, it's like when you keep hitting the repeat button and the cough repeats itself and repeats itself. It's really, really bad. Oh, it's not nice at all. Okay, here we go.
Sometimes your cough is an obvious sign of an infection. For example, when serious infections such as pneumonia or bronchitis are present, you may have a cough that comes with very thick mucus that is green or yellow in appearance.
Yeah, pneumonia, bronchitis, not nice at all. My mother used to suffer from those. That said, she smoked a lot. And by the way, guys, any of you smoke? Speaking of which, Emmanuel says smoking build up of fluid. Build up of fluid. I have very short breath when I'm active. Eek. Yeah. Yeah, smoking is literally a killer, man. If you can give that stuff up, you know, really do. My mother was a heavy smoker. In the end, I mean, COPD got her, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, which we'll look at in this as well, actually, at some point. But because she weakened her lungs a lot with smoking, the weakness led to things like bronchitis and pneumonia. So let us continue.
Other times, it's not as obvious because the cough can be dry, meaning that no mucus or phlegm appears. And just know that your cough can linger for weeks or months after you've been infected. So this is definitely a sign to look out for if you suspect that you may have already had a lung infection.
Okay, what do you mean by infected? Pneumonia? I thought pneumonia and bronchitis are weaknesses of the lungs. I thought it's a state that they fall into after there's been some kind of pressure on them, some kind of aggravation, continued aggravation. I thought that these, like smoking, you know, it's a weakness. So why? Okay, so I know this is about lung infection, but I'm just questioning it. You know, I'm wondering why.
Another sign to look out for is, of course, a fever. A fever can occur for many reasons, but it's most commonly seen when the body is fighting an infection. The average body temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can fluctuate some, usually with warmer temperatures occurring later in the day. In general, some individuals will have a higher baseline temperature than others, but when a lung infection is present, it can increase as high as 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Although this is...
I think the highest temperature I ever had was 103 degrees. 103 degrees Fahrenheit, I think, as a child. I got that from the measles. Let's continue.
An extremely high body temperature. Sometimes during a lung infection, you can have a mild fever and not even realize it, while still being able to carry on throughout your regular routine.
Okay, we just get past the ads here, guys.
Find out you've got IPF. There's a numbness.
This is the ad that's always suggested to you when you bring up illness ads or videos.
The immune system helps adjust the body's thermostat in the hypothalamus to make your body feel hotter in order to combat the infection.
Now, isn't that fantastic? Isn't that really cutting edge, man? I mean, aren't you glad that you have a body that can do that? Look at that. The immune system helps adjust the body's thermostat in the hypothalamus to make your body feel hotter in order to combat the infection. So you get the fever. The fever is actually the body's way of destroying the environment, the ambient temperature needed by an infection to live, you know, to exist. It's kind of like the way governments and authoritative structures are across the board making chicken in Ireland in every outlet halal, so that Muslims have the right environment in which to live in Ireland. And now I'm not saying Muslims are like an infection. You know, maybe you can always say something is the same. You know how I feel about them. I think they're fine. They're very good. I think the most of them are most moral people. They should be in their own countries. They don't have our heritage, history, ethnicity, or culture, right? But to get back to this, that creating a different environment for the infection will kill it by raising the temperature. Okay, let's go.
And when a severe fever is present, you may experience chills even while sweating with a high body temperature, weakness and fatigue, and sometimes even a headache. But with a mild fever that can occur with a lung infection, you may not even experience any of these symptoms. Another sign to look for, and we just mentioned it, is weakness and fatigue. Weakness and fatigue are two of the most common signs of a lung infection. That is because fighting off an infection takes energy from your body that you may have a difficult time manufacturing because the body is ill. Running a fever, battling with an infection, and a general feeling of unease can leave anyone feeling tired and a bit weak.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like in any kind of electrical system, signs of energy loss are actually heat and noise. So I just find it a little bit funny that, you're low in energy and you're feeling weak after you've been running a high fever and fighting an illness like that. You've been giving off excess heat.
The lack of oxygen in the body may also be a factor because, of course, oxygen is required by all the tissues of the body to function properly. So if your body has decreased oxygen levels, it requires more work, which ultimately makes those feelings of weakness and fatigue worse. That leads us to the next sign that you may have a lung infection, which is shortness of breath. Shortness of breath is a symptom that occurs in most lung infections and can remain after other symptoms have gone away. This is likely due to inflammation that has occurred in the airways of the lungs.
Yeah, so basically it's a restriction, same thing with COPD. COPD is the destruction of the bronchioles, the air, I think it's the areoles or the alveoli inside the lungs. It's one of those anyway, okay? I'm not an expert. So I'm just saying that when those things which are the exchange of gases, so you breathe out carbon dioxide, which goes out through, it's like if you ever see the medical pictures, they look like the branches on a tree. You can see that the carbon dioxide goes out through those little branches, and then the exchange is that oxygen comes in through the same alveoli. Nice one, Emmanuel. When they get damaged, or through inflammation, as he's saying here, inflammation causes them to become defective and not be able to engage in their purpose. So, but then COPD is the permanent damage of such. Okay, let us continue.
Shortness of breath can happen when performing activities that you can normally do pretty easily, such as walking to the mailbox or going up a flight of stairs. While doing these typical activities, if you notice that you're having trouble breathing, this could indicate that you've already experienced a lung infection. In such a case, it may be wise to seek professional medical advice and consultation. They will be able to perform more testing and prescribe you with the necessary medications if needed. They may also recommend certain exercises that can increase your lung capacity over time. Moving right along, another sign to look for is if you have suffered through a bad cold. Because the
Emmanuel, your tracheal cilia is paralyzed. What does that mean? How is it paralyzed? What causes it to be paralyzed? Is that to do with the cloud on your lung? It gives you a hacking cough. Okay, but that's all to do with smoking, isn't it? The smoking has done that. Am I wrong? Am I right? Your tracheal cilia is paralyzed, and the result is a hacking cough. Okay, we'll continue. Your peristalsis is I don't know what that is, man. I'm gonna get, well, it's obviously something to do with the lungs, but you could just be making up words here. Smoking paralysis. The hair in the trachea. When you say the hair in the trachea, is that what? Is that one hair, or is it numerous hairs in the trachea? And what is their purpose? Do you know what their purpose is? I mean, I could look all this up, but like I have you here right now, I might as well get the answer from you. Smoking paralyzes the hair in the trachea. What is the hair in the trachea for? Cilia, of course, that's the hair. Yeah, tracheal cilia. Yes. Do you know what is the purpose of those? The cilia. Obviously, they've got a purpose. Anyway, you work away now. I'm going to keep going with the video, okay?
Symptoms of a cold virus are so similar to the flu virus, some medical professionals initially have a difficult time distinguishing between the two. Regardless, both the flu and common cold can result in the occurrence of a lung infection.
How about that? And that's what happened to me, I believe. Get to you now in a sec. That's what happened to me with the cough that I used to get persistently every year. I think it was from that flu I got that time. Regardless, both the flu and the common cold can result in the occurrence of a lung infection. How about that? Okay, Emmanuel says, peristalsis is the rhythmical movement of the cilia. Okay, it makes ways of upward movement to bring up. Excellent, fantastic. I do that every night, actually. After my dinner, I lie down and I'm constantly bringing up really clear, sticky fluid. And what I think it is, Emmanuel, is my environment. I think my flat is incredibly dusty. I built my own DIY air filter. I bought a big 12-volt fan, industrial fan. I put it in a large cardboard box. I bought activated charcoal filters, about 10 of them, and put them all down the side of it. I'm kind of ashamed to show it to you, really, because it just looks so fucking ghetto. I mean, I really should make a good one out of wood, you know, and so that the charcoal filters are trapped in their squares. So instead of actually using masking tape to actually hold them in. Also inside the box, I've got a negative ion generator, a 5-volt negative ion generator, and I use a power bank to actually power that, and you can actually feel the cold air blowing off the little carbon fibers at the end. But what it does is the fan creates a vacuum inside the box, sucks in air from all three sides, and any dust that's in the environment gets sucked in and trapped in the charcoal filters. And blows out the negatively ionized air particles inside it. And what they do is they create a negatively charged air particles in the room. And what that does then is the dust filaments attach themselves to the negatively charged particles, and they seek to ground. So what they do is they find surfaces to attach to ground. So what you find is actually when you use these things, when you use negative ion generators, you find that the dust that usually falls in under lights or wherever that you can see is really fine dust. You don't see the kind of larger hair type particles, but at night it's not so much at the moment. I don't have it at the moment, but maybe I've also got an old 1980s negative ion generator, which a friend gave me there about a month ago, and it's so cool. It was made in Ireland. The thing was made in Ireland. I think it was in Dungarvan in Wexford, and it's got the 4 points because the original negative ion generators have needles, and when you put your finger up close to them, you can see a spark, like it goes. Tss, and it tries to make contact with your finger, and you can feel the really cold stream of air blowing off it. There's 4 of them, and I have that in my bedroom. And I think when I use that, it makes the dust particles smaller, which may not be a good thing. Because I used to shave the hairs on my nose. I used to shave off the hairs inside my nose with one of those trimmers. I don't anymore because I figured out, I went like, hang on a second, I need these. That's the reason I sneeze, is because those little dust particles are going up my nose and the hairs are actually catching it and I'm sneezing it out, you know? But yeah, after my dinner, it could also be a kind of an allergy, not an allergy, but an allergy, a response to something I'm eating, be it dairy or something like that, whereby I'm coughing up. I'm doing that the whole time. And I'm bringing up really sticky mucus fluid, just clear as glass. And I think it's what you just said there, which is the peristalsis, is the rhythmical movement of the cilia hair, makes waves upward movement to bring up moisture from the lungs. Full circle. There you go. Let us continue with the video.
Bacterial infections may also occur after a viral infection because of the disruption of bacteria in the lungs. Keep in mind that lung infections don't always cause a person to become bedridden. The symptoms can be so mild that you may not even feel the need to remain at home from work or your normal activities.
Yeah. That's what I think. It's so hard, isn't it, to self-diagnose these things, because it's on such a spectrum, all of this stuff, you know. I don't think my one is pollen allergy, Emmanuel, because it's a certain time of day and it's a certain position that I'm lying down. So it's definitely in response to it's just after a big dinner. So I'm gonna guess that either the food is agitating me, or the body is going, we're horizontal now, we've eaten food, we need to deal with the dust you've taken down into your lungs, and you need to start taking that up, you need to start bringing that up. Could be that. I don't think it's an allergy like that. I think it's a pollen allergy. Pollen would be, I'd be at it during the daytime, I'd be at it, you know. Anyway, we'll continue with this, but thanks for the suggestion. Cheers. All input is worthy. I'm not going to say it's not. So let's continue anyway.
These lung infections may feel like a cold, but they can still negatively affect the lungs and even leave lasting side effects. And one of the most bizarre signs that you may have experienced if you've had a lung infection is the loss of taste or smell. Now, it may come to you as a surprise, but a very large percentage of people who have tested positive for a lung infection will experience a loss of taste and or smell. This is because certain viruses can affect the olfactory cells in the upper nasal cavity, which directly affects your ability to smell. Also, since congestion and drainage are usually present, they can block scents from reaching the portion of your nasal cavity that allows for smelling to occur.
Yeah, but what if how did they define that? How did they, who has defined the fact that a virus has attacked the cells in your nasal cavity? I'd like to see where that has been defined, where the person has isolated the cells from the nasal cavity and shown damage from what is believed to be a virus. What if a virus is not something which is transmitted from the outside? What if a virus is something within your own body, which your body is then put into a state of stasis to actually deal with, say, extreme toxicity of your own body? Would the degradation of cells not also look like the same thing? Would they not also look like they have been attacked by something? There's alternative ways of viewing things. I'm just saying that what may be defined as an external attack could actually be one's own body doing the degradation of the cells as a way of coping and dealing with toxicity. Let us continue with the video.
And it's important to know that these senses
just
of smell
one
and
opinion
taste
I
are very
think
closely
is
linked.
valid, you know?
This means that with the loss of smell, it can result in a loss of taste as well. So if you have experienced a loss...
But it says, let's go back there. Why don't you play?
Are very closely linked. Sense from reaching the portion of your nasal cavity that allows for smelling.
Okay, yeah, look, it says here, this is because certain viruses can affect the olfactory cells. Olfactory cells in the upper nasal cavity. Cells. But I thought the olfactory senses were based on sensors, not cells. I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to being corrected. Olfactory cells. I thought that it's sense receptors, sight receptors, smelling olfactory sensors, receptors, not cells. Like, he's isolated the word cells with olfactory here. That could be something worth looking into to find out, has that any validity? You know, let's continue.
To occur. And it's important to know that the senses of smell and taste are very closely linked. This means that with the loss of smell, it can result in a loss of taste as well. So if you have experienced a loss of taste, it's most likely because you have lost your ability to smell first. Unfortunately, in some cases, the damage can be permanent or it can last for several months. But for most individuals, the neurons will regenerate and you'll be able to regain your senses of taste and smell once your body has fully recovered from the infection. So if you have experienced a loss of taste or smell recently and thought it was kind of weird, this may be a sign that you have been infected. Real quick, guys.
So where are we? We're 7 minutes and 10 in. Okay, so Emmanuel says, you have to factor in urban air pollution over a lifetime. Plenty of people are borderline asthmatic today. Man, it's so true. It is so true. Like, in my bathroom, right? So there's a busy main thoroughfare outside where I am here, and just on the other side of that was a very large construction site for the last 2 years. And even without the construction site now, just with the road, I'm finding that I leave the porcelain of the sink alone. I don't wipe it. I think what I might start doing actually is wiping one half of it, because you can see the little black, there's like little tiny black, hard black dust all over the white porcelain. And I just want to leave it there for a while and just have a look at it and maybe document it. Because I think what you're saying there, Emmanuel, is you have to factor in urban air pollution over a lifetime. Well, this isn't even a lifetime. This is because the top window is open and that there's a busy main thoroughfare with cars and trucks and lorries and all the rest going up and down outside. And they're making their way in my window and onto the porcelain. And I'll take a picture actually and put it up on this at some stage. I think I've made a playlist in which I'm talking a review these respiratory channel and videos. So I may actually include some of those pictures of the dust that comes from a main thoroughfare in my own life, in my own place here, so we can have a look at my verified and experience, you know.
Do me a huge favor and hit the like button. It really helps support the channel and I greatly appreciate it. And while you're down there, go ahead and click the subscribe button as well, because we have a ton of other videos on our channel that I think you will enjoy. I hope you like the information that was shared in this video, and hopefully you're now one step closer to taking better care of your respiratory system and overall health. Keep in mind though, to always check with your doctor for medical advice and treatment, because they will know more about your individual condition. And if you do feel like you've been infected, it's probably best to go ahead and get tested if recommended by your doctor. But just one final reminder, this video is for informational purposes.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, all right? So that's that. And you saw all that. And basically I'm going to put a link to that video underneath the video. I'm going to put a link to that video in the description under this video. It's late, I'm tired. I want to do a video. I want to... Bear with me! So, I want to do a video on a new direct provision centre that's being opened up in Donegal. I might do that early tomorrow. I might do that before or around 12 o'clock in the morning. Emmanuel, I don't know if you'll be around at that time. It'd be good to have you on board. He says, Emmanuel's latest comment is, I bet the grit is full of lead. You know, I would love to live in a forest. I would love it. I built a big e-bike, but it's very heavy. It's like a steel frame, and steel front suspension, motorbike rims, motorbike tires. But the bike I had before that was just like a normal mountain bike, road bike hybrid. And that was the first electric bike that I built. And I used to love going up to local woods and just turning on the throttle and just letting it pull me up the little narrow kind of like trails between all the vegetation, right up to the top of the woods, because I can breathe. I can just breathe so clearly up there. It's the same when I go out the estuary here, you know. It's the same thing. I love it. I love going down the greenway and just breathing in the clean, clear sea air, you know. I love it. Another one, what? Another stream. Yeah, I'm going to do another. I'm going to be continuing. Another one bike or another stream. Let me know there. So I want to do a stream in the morning about this. I just got news of this new direct provision centre that's going to be opened up in Donegal. I'll say no more about it. We'll look at the article tomorrow. We'll look at that tomorrow. Yes, another direct provision centre. Yes. Well, we know it's invasion. We know it's plantation. We know what it is at this stage. Yes. So also, what I'll do, like in the evening times, I have a very big video that I want to put out about the manufacturing of consent. You know, like the pay trolls here, like the pay trolls on Facebook, like the shaming of people when they offer a dissenting viewpoint. On social media, how Netflix creates narratives through storylines, acting, and bypassing the intellect and getting straight to the emotions, which is what we as artists and musicians do. I mean, this is our stock and trade. We know what we're doing. You go directly to the emotional center through your art, through your music. This is what Netflix is about. This is what movies have been about. This is what Hollywood was about. It was about the spinning and the creating of social engineering through the use of art. You know. Anyway, that's a very large video that I want to put together, and I'm just trying to think about the right way to go about that. Whether to do it through a live stream like this, or whether to create a timeline video in which I present, proper fades and music and all that kind of stuff. Obviously that would be better, but it just takes so long. But it'd be worth it to do it because this is a big one. I'm going to talk about Edward Bernays. I'm going to talk about Sigmund Freud. I'm going to talk about Edward Bernays' great grandnephew, Mark Rudolpho, who is a co-founder of Netflix. I want to do all that. So basically, anyway, that's it from me. And I wish you all a good night. Pay trolls too. Bye. And have a good one.
There is light around us, with a cloud in the sky, waking up the world illusion. I am free. You are free.